I would like to first of all thank Georgetown Capital for allowing me this opportunity to talk about Guyana's labor market. I think that Guyana is well placed in the region. Not only do you have considerable natural resources, but the recent oil and gas finds are of global significance. So there is the opportunity to try to harness oil and gas, petrochemical, and also to harness the sustainability aspect of that is available to Guyana. So when I talk about sustainability, I mean, of course, renewable energy and energy efficiency. In order to utilize a labor market that can, a local labor market that can harness these natural resources, it is important that local training be provided. And this can be provided by the local technical vocational institutions that are already in Guyana, and there are quite a number of them, and also the university, especially the University of Guyana, that incorporates technical vocational training in its curriculum, in addition to bachelor's and higher level training. I believe that Guyana, at this time, should invest its resources in technical vocational training, primarily. The reason for this is there is an immediate need for trained technicians in the field. Local institutions, both technical, vocational, and universities, to enter into international partnerships. Of course, I'm aware the University of Guyana has already entered in a partnership with the University of Trinidad and Tobago, but there are other opportunities for partnerships. It is quite common in the region for local technical vocational institutions to enter into partnerships with Canadian universities, as the Canadians do focus in the technical vocational field. I would also like to suggest an adoption of international standards, especially international building standards and codes. There can be a declaration that all public sector buildings that are to be constructed or plan to be constructed should utilize international building codes and standards. And what this would do, this would force the local labor pool to ensure that their training and certification meets international standards. And this is an excellent way to ensure that the labor market, the engineering and technical labor market in Guyana, is of international quality, and that can be addressed early on in Guyana's development. And it is a move that I strongly believe the government should look at. Having international quality training of our technician level personnel in the region is something that we need to address, and Guyana has the opportunity to address that early on in its industrial revolution and development. It is, of course, important as well to offer scholarships. So the government of Guyana should continue and expand its offering of scholarships to address the knowledge gap that may exist locally within the local university and technical vocational schools. Now, scholarships, of course, can be international, but they also can be local. So you want to allow low-income persons to access tertiary level training nationally through scholarships as well. There should also be a dedicated program that looks at girls and women and granting them access to the engineering and technical fields. Girls and women traditionally, not only in the region, but globally, are not well represented in the engineering and technical fields. And this is an area Guyana has an excellent opportunity to address early on again in its development. I would also like to recommend bolstering of the local engineering associations and societies that are already active in Guyana, and to also encourage local engineers and technicians to join international engineering societies. I would also like to encourage University of Guyana and also the local Tech Vox schools to ensure that the local engineering curriculum is updated and cross-cutting. What do I mean by that? I mean that your traditional engineering fields, mechanical, electrical, they are now merged and they are now combined. So you should look at a curriculum that harnesses this combination and marriage of electrical and mechanical engineering and other aspects. An engineering curriculum in Guyana should also include areas of digitization and artificial intelligence. It is important to also improve the science and engineering labs at your local secondary schools. Guyana has a proud tradition of producing the highest performers at the CSEC level, and for quite a number of years. So the quality of secondary school education in Guyana is unrivaled in the region. Having said that, it is important to invest resources at the secondary school level in engineering and science labs and make sure that these resources and these equipment are cutting edge. It's a good idea to include mandatory internship components in your technician and engineering programs. And what that does is by including mandatory industry-based internship, the time spent by a graduate in articulating into industry is very short. And it also allows industry to shape the graduate. It allows feedback from industry. So mandatory internship in your engineering and technician level programs is essential. At the University of Trinidad and Tobago, we have a position which we call Professor in Practice. And this is a position that I would like to encourage the University of Guyana and other similar institutions in Guyana to adopt. What a professor in practice is, it is someone that is very accomplished in industry, that is very senior, would have worked on substantial projects, but perhaps does not have the matching academic qualifications for academia. But you allow them to take up senior academic positions. So they may not have a PhD or even a master's degree, but you could give them the title of professor in practice, and they could move over to the university after their career in industry, or when they are already in industry, they could make that move to academia and be involved in teaching, research, and the shaping of the curriculum for industry. When you have persons like the senior industry experienced person involved in academia, the outlook for the program will be industry focused, and that is essential. Guyana should embrace the triple helix of innovation. The marriage between industry, government, and academia. Whenever there are major state or government projects, steering committees, oversight committees should always include academia, industry, and of course, government. Guyana should look at regularly hosting engineering conferences with international speakers, international invitees, and of course, local speakers. So this would keep the local engineering sector, it will always reinvigorate the local engineering sector and keep them updated with the newest technologies and trends. And it also offers the opportunity for local engineers to showcase their projects, their skills, and experiences. Industry-based mentorship programs should be started and encouraged. What an industry-based mentorship program is, it's basically a program where you have an industry expert who would come in and speak to existing engineering or technical students, would go to secondary schools and provide career guidance, and will also come to communities and talk about the engineering field. So if you have dedicated industry and engineering professionals in Guyana, begin a mentorship program where they could provide advice and experience from industry directly to those young persons interested in getting into the engineering and science field, or to persons interested in switching careers. Guyana, of course, should look at setting up a committee. And this is a national committee that looks at harnessing emerging technologies. So a committee should be developed that comprises of academia, government, and industry. and focus on the emerging technologies emerging technologies in the industries that are relevant to Guyana. That includes oil and gas, renewable energy, perhaps hydrogen. And the goal of this committee is to identify early on these emerging technologies and create policies or framework or even pilot projects to allow Guyana to early on get involved in these emerging technologies or prepare for these emerging technologies as they come forward. In closing, I would like to say that Guyana is in an excellent situation as it relates to technology, engineering, and natural resources. And at this stage, it is the ideal time to look at charting a course forward for learning and development, and to ensure that the quality of the labor market in Guyana is international quality, and that international expertise could seamlessly come into Guyana and work, and local Guyanese could seamlessly leave Guyana and work anywhere in the world. Thank you for the opportunity.